don't want to lose the little line I just drew on number 3. No, all I gotta do is hit the button, it'll be back up again. But if I did any more than this, then I would have a problem. Okay, so, listen, I have a stack of photocopies. Your tests are photocopied already. What you're gonna be expected to do on that test is already done. So, this question is coming on the test. I think it's worth 10 points. Okay? So if you cannot get this question right, now it is partial credit, but if you can't get this question right, you're going to take a beating on your test. And we don't want that to happen. So let's make sure we're able to do this. This is the 3rd time we have seen this, and you will see it on pre-tests 2 other times. So you're gonna see this at least 5 times before you take your test. And by then, in all honesty, if you can't get this right after 5 times, this is not the problem. Are we clear on that? Okay, I wanna do this one first because I don't wanna lose it. I'm going from here to here. And in order to understand rate of change, you have to understand slope. The slope is change in y over change in x. Y is better known in function theory as the output, and x is known as the input. So when I write the point 0, 1, and when I write the point 3, what is this? 3 what?
I think it's 11.
13? And I write 3, 13. That means when the input is 3, and Emma, this is very important to remember for your quiz, because you were very far off on the one question there about what's the rate of change. All right, and this will help you on that. If the input's 3, the output's 13. If the input's 0, the output's 1. You need to write both coordinate pairs. Then you do the slope formula. Change in y over change in x. If I go from 1 to 12, or 1 to 13, I went up 12. And if I go from 0 to 3, I went up 3. 12 over 3 is 4. Okay? The key understanding in this particular question is as follows. What does a coordinate represent? A coordinate represents the input, bless you, paired with the output. Input, output. You need input, output. You see, you actually have the input, output on the table here. Input, output. 0 is paired with -2. 3 is paired with 8. I could literally grab 0, -2, 3, 8, and do the same exact thing, okay? Now, when I do the slope with this, which is, again, change in y over change in x, 8 minus -2 is 10, and 3 minus 0 is 3. So this rate of change is 10 over 3. Is there anyone who has a problem with either one of those two? Okay, now the next one is like the quiz one. So by going over this and then following it up on the quiz, we got 2 opportunities to understand this. Everything we have done on the g of x function and the h of x function was about pairing inputs, outputs, inputs, outputs. The problem here is I don't list inputs and outputs, so I have to find them. So what is the output when I have 0? What is the output when I have 3? So let's plug in a 0, my favorite, 0, 0, -1. Now I'm going to plug in a 3. 3 squared is 9, times 2 is 18, 3 times 3 is 9, so 18 and 9 is 27, minus 1 is 26. Then I subtract, remember change in y over change in x, 26 minus -1 is 27, 3 minus 0 is 3. So this slope is 9. Now, which has the greatest slope? Oh, you guys have a 5?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean you have a 5?
It's 2x to the second.
Plus 5x. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So let's plug in the 3 again. Is this right? Plus 5x? Okay. Plugging in the 3, I get 9, I get 18. 18 and 15 is 33, minus 1 is 32. So this becomes a 32. 32 minus -1 is 33. 33 over 3 is 11. Okay? Did I go too fast?
No.
Okay. Now, the greatest one is the red one, so f of x is greatest. The blue one, 4, is the medium one, so h of x. And then g of x is the smallest, 10 over 3 is not quite 4, it's 3 1/3. Okay, any questions? All right. So again, I want to emphasize that that is absolutely going to be a part 2 kind of question on your test. It's going to be worth either 8 or 10 points. It's a very important question. And you really need to know how to do that. So if you don't know how to do that, go back and work on the videos and make sure you understand. Okay, so the next one says this. If f of x is 5 to the x, evaluate f of 3. So I'm going to substitute the input of 3 into that. I get 5 to the third, which is what? Well, what does your paper say? Oh, it says -1 to the third? Okay, so what is negative? Oh,
5 to the negative.
all right, so this is negative. So what is 5 to the -1? It is 0.2 if you use your calculator. As a fraction, it's 1/5. Did anybody use their calculator to do this? Okay, that's smart. I really didn't want you to do it that way. I wanted you to know that the negative exponent meant 1 over or reciprocal. Not a problem. Go to your calculators again and type in 5 to the -1. I want to show you something. Yeah, you got 5 to the -1, it says 0.2. Traditionally, with something like this, if it was a multiple choice question, they would not put the decimal. Okay? So I want you to do math, enter, enter. Just find the math button and then do enter, enter. I think math's on the left, isn't it? Okay, found it. Math, enter, enter. And do you see how now it says 1/5?
Yeah.
Okay? So by doing math, enter, enter, you convert to a fraction. All right, next one, f of what? Guys, what does your paper say? F of? And is it 10 to the 0 plus 7 to the x? Okay, so 10 to the 0 is 1, 7 to the 2 is 49, and 1 plus 49 is 50. You will get one question like either one of those on your test also. When I build up these do-its, when I give you the homeworks, etc., they very much reflect the overwhelming majority of what your test is going to be. So when you're doing your homework questions, when you're doing your do-it questions, there should be a sense of purpose, because if you master them now, when you go to take your test, very, very, very easy. If you don't master them now, and then I go to give you your test, you're in a state of panic. Okay, which of the following bracket notations is equivalent to -3 less than or equal to x there? We got choice D, right? If I put a little line underneath here, which choice would it be? C, right? Because they both be staples?
Wait, we don't have that.
Oh, what do you have?
It's the opposite.
Switch them? So this is this, and this is that.
Yeah.
Okay, so which choice would that be? B it is, good. Which has the greatest value? Do you have the same numbers?
No.
No.
Okay, is the first one the same? What do you get?
-3 minus 5.
Next one?
That -5 times -7.
Okay, next one?
Negative
Negative what?
5.
No, the other one is 5. The 9 stays
Oh.
the same.
And this one? 10? Okay, so -3 minus 5 is -8. This is 35. This is 4, right? Circle agar. And then this is -2. So the greatest one is B, and the smallest one is A. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Excelente. Now, we will get into the graphs and so on and so forth in just a minute. The first thing I would like to do, however, is I'd like to look for the quiz. Back two-step questions. All right. Let's go to here. This is quiz 4. Quiz 2, quiz 8, 9. Quiz 4, where are we here? Quiz 5, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. All right, I think this is going to be it. Hopefully. Okay, good. Now, as far as which one is the exponential graph, I drew 4 of them on your paper. The correct answer is choice D. The reason you know that choice D is an exponential graph, in fact, I can scroll this up a little bit. The reason you know that choice D is an exponential graph is because exponential graphs typically look like that. Okay? So you were expected to be able to recognize which was which. The first choice on your quiz, what kind of graph is that? Thingamajigger. Yeah, that's not going to do. I think that was choice E on the Regents. Parabola, and it represents a quadratic. Okay? The next one is linear. The next one's a trig graph. You're not going to know that yet, but it is a trig graph. And D is exponential. You don't have to know what a trig graph is yet. You're a little bit young for that. All right, now, guys, if you got number 2 wrong, I got a problem. You tell me how many times between homework, do-its, and quizzes you have seen number 2.
5 billion.
Is a fair estimate in the neighborhood of 12,
Yeah.
right? Plus whatever we did in the lessons. And you're still getting this wrong?
No.
If you're getting it wrong, you're the problem. I like to say to kids that if I took out a $500 gift card to the mall and dropped it on your desk, and all you need to do is get this question right, and you get the card, how many people would get it right? Every last one of you would get it right. So if you're not getting it right, you are simply not focused enough. Now, as soon as it says h of t, it's h of t. Notice, it is not h of x.
I like X's though. The T confuses me.
T stands for time. Now, listen, they always, what word did I just say?
Always.
Very rarely in math can you say that word. This is one of the occasions where you can. Always begins with either -16 or -9.8. If it's English system, it's -16. If it's metric system, it's -9.8. So this is -16 t squared. I see some people who write -16 squared. Don't forget the t. Question?
Daddy, when will we ever use 9.8?
If I said to you here and you're reading it through and I said from a height of 40 meters and at an upward velocity of 20 meters per second, then you go, oh, I better use the 9.8. All right? We don't use it very often because we use English units here. But if you were a kid in Spain, you would be using the metric systems. Maybe. I don't remember. So,
You don't remember? It's
No.
the future.
no, I wrote them in the past. So, all right, -16 t squared. Now, I want to discuss why the negative's there, because some people leave off the negative. When I take this ball, now remember what I said that, hold on, remember what I said gravity is? Gravity is a mutually attractive force between any 2 objects in the face of the earth. Now, usually that force is not very large. For instance, the force of attraction between my mechanical pencil and my Sharpie is not great enough that it can overcome the force of friction. So they stay exactly where they are, and they don't move. That's the way it is with most objects. It's a very, very small force, unless the object is really, really big. The Earth is really, really big. So here is a little rubber band ball, and I'm going to throw it up with force. But the attraction of the Earth for this ball is so strong because of the size of the Earth that it's going to pull it back down. So remember, it's going to pull it back what? Down. Up, down. Is down considered positive or negative? Now, the part of the force here that is the down is the -16 t squared. This is your gravitational constant. And the negative pulls it back down to Earth. Now, if you're going away from the Earth, the force that's away from the Earth is positive. The upward velocity of 50 feet per second, that's why the 50 has to be positive. Because it's upward, positive, and then when you're coming back down, it is negative. So that's why it's -16 t squared. Then there's 50 t, and then it goes from a height of 44 feet, and that's clearly above the ground, so that would be positive too. Yes?
Will we ever actually solve the
Oh, yes, that's a whole later chapter in the year. But for now, we're happy enough that you can just recognize that it is what it is, and we're cool with that. All right, now, average rate of change. This was the question that stopped many a person from getting 100. And the way we do this, I just spoke to you a couple of minutes ago about this, and I said what's so important is you have to understand average rate of change is slope. Slope is a pair of coordinates, change in y over change in x. Y is input, output, x is input. So with this function, I need an input of 0, I need to find the output. I need an input of 2, I need to find the output. So let's plug in a 0. What's 3 to the 0? 1. What's, now plug in a 2. What's 3 to the second? 9. Now I do, there's my 2 coordinates. Now I do change in y over change in x. 9 minus 1 is 8. God bless. 2 minus 0 is 2. So it's 4. Okay? Easy enough? Okay. Are you going to see that on the test?
Yes.
A minimum of a 10-point question and a part 1. So that's like 14 points on the test based on that single concept. Do you really think you can leave the room here today not knowing how to do that and everything's hunky-dory?
Yes. I like the word hunky-dory.
I'm glad you like the word hunky-dory. However, I like results on tests.
That too.
Okay? And last but not least, let's plug in a 3. The big thing I want you to remember here is you've got to square it, then negate it. So that's 9, negative 9, plus 12, plus 7, that's 19, and that's 10. When you add them all up. If you're going to use your calculator to do this, it's very important. If you ever input a negative number into your calculator and then you're going to square it or whatever, what do you always have to do to that negative number? Put it in parentheses. Very important. Okay. Any questions on your quiz? Now, how many people know that if you just take 2 minutes to review it before you come in tomorrow to take the test, you do it tonight, review it for 2 minutes, tomorrow you get into school, take another moment, that you will kick butt on tomorrow's test? Or quiz, I should say. Yeah, I'm confident that that would happen. Okay. Next up. Again, nothing new today. Now, I don't know that this is exactly the one that you have on your paper, because for some reason I think I didn't save it the right way. What does your paper say?
Change to -3 and -2.
Okay, so which of these graphs have -3 and -2 as your zeros or your roots?
It's -2 and 3.
Oh, -2, +3?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Change to
-3 and -2. Which one has -3 and -2?
2.
Which choice, everybody?
2.
Choice 2, right? -3 and -2? Okay? How many people just know that if I take the time to put something on work 3 days in a row, you're going to see something like it on a test? Right? You know that's coming. All right, what about this one? Which one has, and what do they look for in this? What do they say? Hey, this one, what do they ask for? It's correct, it's 4 and 6. Which one has 4 and 6? Choice 4 is right. Alex is in the game. All right. What? Are we okay?
Sorry.
You are ready for marriage. It's like when you ask your wife, is everything okay? Yes. It's like, there is no way everything is okay.
She is not ready for marriage.
Oh, no, the way she turned around and just said, yes, or what did you say? Yeah, or whatever she just said, is exactly the same way of saying, whatever. All she needed was like an eye roll thrown in there. Okay. Oh, no, the question below said zeros of, what is it, -12 and -2?
No, it's 12 and -2.
All right, which one has zeros of 12 and -2? Yeah, I think Alex didn't see that part when he came up with the answers. Which part has zeros of 12 and -2?
Oh my gosh. I don't like doing it.
Oh, God, would you guys like to stomp and slam a door?
Yes.
I don't have a daughter, but I know the daughter's moves. I had 2 younger sisters growing up. No, it's not 3.
1.
I have.
4.
Oh, actually, I take it back. It's going to be choice 1.
Yeah, it
How do you know that? I thought you did.
Graph it.
I just did it. Oh, because I'm
Graph it. You're going to pass through 12 and -2.
I did that one before.
You with me on that? Okay, Miss Marquez. Very good. Marquez.
What?
Sam woke up.
not passing through the next one.
Sam's just laughing at me.
Okay.
I said,
All right. The last thing I want you to do is there is also a question on your test coming up about a particular snowstorm.
where's that?
So, for the rest of the period, practice this with everybody in class. Just talk to each other. Oh, I don't have it on this one?
No.
All right, then make sure you practice it on the ones I gave you already, because you are going to get that on your test. And you'll know that because I'm giving you a pre-test tomorrow. Yeah, and the day before.
Mr. Lucas, we have 6 minutes left. Do you want to tell us the story?
Oh, my story of me and Betty?
Yeah.
I'm turning this off.
What?
I don't want my wife to hear.